Hello everybody and welcome to the semifinals of the Fragbite THOR Open Qualifier number 3. Keep in mind that there are 5 more qualifiers after this, a total of 8 qualifiers, and if you win a qualifier you get the chance to play in Stockholm, Sweden for a chance to win a prize purse up to $20,000, well $18,800 to be precise. Of course, converted from Swedish kroner. But anyway, we are going to get into this match. This is a best of 3 series between Absolute Legends on the Rain side and GL on the Dire side. GL, I think, stands for Gamers League. They have some strong players. Absolute Legends, after having some difficulties making it to Star Ladder, they are going to be playing this match. So hopefully it'll be a very exciting matchup, and we'll get to see some awesome picks. As Absolute Legends, the new All-Star team, unfortunately, G did leave them in order to form LGD International, but Sony has been more than a capable stand, and right now we just see an immediate Wisp pick, or a Wisp ban. And that's pretty interesting. Wisp is either always first banned, or in the first stage of the ban, or just not played at all. It's kind of odd. But Wisp, of course, a very powerful support, and that might indicate that GL might want to go with the middle, a little bit more of a conservative style, because Wisp is probably one of the strongest gankers in the game, one of the strongest split pushers in the game, especially combined with somebody like Tiny, who is just ridiculous in conjunction with him. Of course, eHome did revolutionize that strategy, but yeah, it can definitely be used by many other teams. Meanwhile, Darkseer is response banned by Absolute Legends, still a very powerful hero, and of course, this is still the tournament patch, so the 6.76 changes have not been implemented just yet. Dota 2 will not be patched until probably around Thursday, so gotta be patient for them, and gotta be patient for those patches, but still, even in 6.76, I do not foresee Darkseer getting played nearly as much, or getting played. He's going to be banned still around the same amount. Only Vacuum was nerfed by around 3 seconds. Batrider is the ban by Gamers League. Batrider, of course, a very strong mid lane hero. A very strong hero in general. One of the most powerful initiators in the game. If you manage to get that Blink Lasso onto somebody and initiate, you can make a teamfight essentially 4v5 in favor of your team. And meanwhile, Templar Assassin is the ban by Absolute Legends, a very smart ban. Batrider is one of the best counter picks against TA. So, considering that Gamers League has first pick, Absolute Legends did not let them have TA, but that does leave them open to a Rubik first pickup. So, Rubik first pickup, that kind of limits Absolute Legends a little bit. Rubik is probably one of the most versatile heroes in the game, and really you do have to pick around him, because you really have to be careful which giant ultimates you want to take on your side of the on your team. Just because Rubik, of course, is always a threat to steal one of those ultimates and then turn a team fight in huge favor of the opposing team. One of the best ways to deal with Rubik is just to gank him nonstop. He's quite squishy, apply a lot of pressure in the middle lane, and just be very, very annoying. But we're going to see an Undying first pickup by Absolute Legend. This has actually been trending quite a bit. Undying, one of the best mid-game tying pushers in the game, now that Tombstone has a bit better of a Deathless requirement to get those zombies more buffed. It's just really, really scary to deal with him. He's an immense teamfight presence. Leshrac is a counterpick by Gamers League, and that's going to be a bit tricky considering that Edict will spread onto the zombies and onto the Tombstone. Of course, Edict wants to be focusing now on Tombstone, but Nature's Prophet does make a sense. You can micro those treants to attack that Tombstone, and of course that'll be just very, very good. Of course, one of the best ways to deal with Undying is just to pick up Bristleback, but unfortunately he's not in Dota 2. So, looks like Absolute Legends, they picked up the Tyrant, so they're clearly not afraid of the Rubik. They pick up Nagasaran as well, so picking some pretty significant teamfight ultimate. And if Rubik steals a Tombstone and a Ravage in the same teamfight, that is just going to be curtains. But looks like GL, they don't want to give Absolute Legends any more teamfight. They're just going to immediately ban out the Enigma. Meanwhile, Absolute Legends going to start banning out long lane solos. Of course, Nature's Prophet could long lane solo himself, but most likely he will be in the jungle. We see him a lot more in that capacity these days. Gamers are gonna, now that all the major teamfight heroes have been banned, they're gonna ban out Broodmother, so long lane solo has been eliminated for Absolute Legends. Of course, they could put Tidehunter in that position, but it's a little bit tricky. And considering GL is on the Dire side, Beastmaster ban might be in order, but we're gonna see a Krob ban. Krob is an interesting hero, really, really powerful pusher, but Absolute Legends decides to ban it for themselves. Maybe they don't want Rubik to pick up that Krob ultimate themselves. And Enchantress and Shen going to be the immediate next two bans, as these bans have just been flying completely out of the arena. So, no jungle presence in this game besides maybe Nature's Prophet and maybe something crazy like a jungle Batrider, but that is already banned. So Gamers League gonna think a while. Keep in mind that Absolute Legends does have the last pick, so they could pick up something very weird. Meanwhile, Gamers League, they have a very versatile lineup, but really they are lacking in terms of overall late game presence, a lot of physical damage presence, and really with Undying, who naturally builds into a pipe, you're gonna really need to get that physical damage dealer, especially to focus down that tombstone, which is just so annoying to deal with in team fights. And right now, another problem with Gamers League lineup is that they are quite squishy. They cannot take too much damage. If a Ravage and the tombstone come in, they'll be immediately brought down to very low HP, and then those zombies just become even more annoying to deal with. So, looks like Gamers League thinking quite a while to pick up their 4th hero, and we will see. They pick up Queen of Pain, another squishy hero, but a lot of mobility on her side. She's pretty difficult to bring down, but Nagasiren's net is one of the best ways to do that. Keep in mind, Nagasiren net with that casting point nerf, it's a little bit trickier to trap a hero like Queen of Pain in there, but Nagasiren can find a way, especially in the team fight. Nagasiren with that net and Tidehunter Riders can lock down Queen of Pain. So right now, Gamers League going very, very versatile, very, very squishy, but trying to split push as much as possible, and Pugna is the response pickup by Absolute Legends. Gonna be very, very powerful. Of course, that Netherward gonna zap away so much damage, or so much HP of heroes like Leshrac, Queen of Pain, Nature's Prophet. He casts Wrath of Nature in the midst of a team fight. Rubik, of course, has pretty high mana cost spells in the Telekinesis and the Fade Bolt. And Pugna, just a very strong pusher who synergizes quite well with Undying as well. So Pugna, I think, is the perfect pickup in this situation. You get that timing push going with that Undying Tombstone and the Pugna. Nevertheless, it's just going to be really, really annoying to deal with. And that Netherward just going to be zapping these squishy spellcasters to bits. Bit worried for Gamers League, so we'll see if they pick up some sort of physical damage presence. But right now they have heroes who do need a decent amount of experience. Leshrac can be a powerful support, but I think in this lineup he does want to get some experience so he can tank up against the likes of Undying, Tidehunter, Pugna. He really needs to get some tank items. Rubik will most likely, well, it'll be interesting to see how they're playing this, as if they pick up a final carry, then Rubik might be playing support. Leshrac will most likely be playing support, but Rubik might be transitioning to solo mid. Nature's probably be jungling. Queen of Pain probably could solo mid or solo the off lane. She's pretty versatile in that regard, so Queen of Pain does need items in order to succeed. She's really, really a momentum-based hero. If you get off to a good start, you can control the game, but if you get off to a bad start, she really won't become relevant until you just give her so much farm that she'll eventually become relevant with items like a Scythe of Vice or items like an Orchid, which could be useful in shutting down heroes like Pugna or Tidehunter. So, Lifestealer is a pickup for Gamers League, and that's going to be pretty interesting. We'll see if they jungle it or will they lane it. Lifestealer pretty versatile in that regards. Of course, the biggest buff to Lifestealer is definitely the armlet toggle buff, now that it is a 5 to 1 second increase, and Jakiro is going to be the last pickup for Absolute Legends. Synergizes quite well with their pushing strategy, gives them a nice support to go with, and overall a very versatile pick. So it looks like we're going to get into the game as the teams are picking their heroes and their players. So, we'll introduce the players and teams. Looks like GL Sayuri is playing the Rubik, Savadoom is playing the Leshrac, Fail Etz is playing the Lifestealer, CHW is playing the Nature's Prophet, and Miggle is playing the Queen of Pain. Meanwhile, Absolute Legends looks like Come With Me is playing the Twin Head Dragon, Jakiro. Vegas is going to be playing the Pugna, Freezer is going to be playing the Tidehunter, Mania is going to be playing the Undying, and Sony is going to be playing the Nagasiren. So right now we have very, very prominent players, very legendary players on the side of Absolute Legends playing some interesting heroes. It should be really, really exciting to see. As looks like both teams, do they have a Smoke of Deceit to smoke up? Looks like Jakiro has some wards, so he's going to probably place them to limit some of Lifestealer's jungling capacity or Nature's Prophet. One thing that you do know about Gamers League is that they're going to put one hero in the jungle at the very least. So both teams going to exchange pleasantries, both on a familiar basis. Keep in mind, Come With Me was part of Sayuri's dream team, so I'm sure they're pretty good friends, as she calls him Chubby in an affectionate way. And looks like there might be a bit of trouble very soon for the Dire. Looks like the Radiant know that other heroes are there, as Dire trying to swing in heroes in position, but Mania is going to get onto the high ground, so Sayuri does not see him coming. DK catches two heroes. Looks like Sayuri going to get Ice Path, immediately dies to first blood as Nagasiren picks up the kill. Nicely done by Sony, getting that 400 gold boost. Going to be really, really effective in laning her. So what a start for Absolute Legends right off the bat. They did not even lose too much experience in that engagement because, hey, the creeps had not even respawned. So, sorry, a little bit salty that happened, but hey, that's still that does happen. We're going to see a very support-based Leshrac in a tri lane, but he knows that his tri lane should be relatively okay, but it looks like Absolute Legend's going to counter with an aggressive dual lane. This is pretty interesting because both of these heroes are melee, so they do not have too much inherent harassment. Not too sure what Nagasiren and Mania can do in this regard, as it looks like Vigos managed to pick off Miggle in that engagement. Not sure how that happened, but there was a gank in mid lane. Looks like Lifesteal going to approach Mania menacingly. Can they get an open wounds off? Looks like Telekinesis is going to lift Mania up into the air. Mania so tank with that Decay, already getting off a couple stacks. 3 stacks of Decay. Sayuri might be in a lot of trouble. Riptide and Decay going to come in. Looks like Mania picks up a kill. Savaduma is in a lot of trouble as well. Mania just doing so much work with Decay, tanking up so much damage. Look at this, not almost 1000 HP at level 2. Wow, ridiculous tank ability from that Undying. This is why he's such a powerful hero against Trials, because that Decay AoE increase has just been very significant, and right now it looks like Absolute Legends has a firm grasp on this laning phase despite only having one range hero, as Kamotli does decide to come to that top lane after getting a gank to help out Vigos. So what will Miggle do in response? This tri-lane is going to be where most of the action happens, as Lifestealer is not going to be jungling, he is going to be laning, and Nature's Prophet is going to be in the off-lane position. So will Lifesteal be able to get to the jungle to stack it up? There has been a Radiant Ward to scout that out to possibly stop that pull, but it looks like Radiant just going to do some pulling of their own, trying to get some experience. And right now it'll be interesting to see who gets a farm, probably Naga for the most part, as Mania is caught in a very awkward position. He's going to get Splurth, going to clear down the trees, and drops it level 1 Tombstone. Still very significant, as Ice Path going to come in, hold Felix in place, but that Tombstone AoE pretty small. The zombies will not spawn and keep chasing after Savadum and Felix.
Sing your praises.
So looks like Mania and the Absolute Legend side's gonna try to roam and get back the control, as looks like for some reason Jakiro manages to catapult himself out to the top of the last hit chart, as I obviously made a little bit of misclick, but right now you can see the last hits of Vigos doing a nice job in that middle lane with 12 last hits. Unfortunately for him, Miggle did manage to get that rune. I haven't talked about this bottom lane, but it looks like Freezer in a bit of trouble, but once he gets that Anchor Smash leveled up with maybe 1 point to Kraken Shell, he should be just fine. Picks up a poor man chill to really reduce that harassment that Nature's Prophet can dish out. So Freezer should be fine in this lane, should not be in danger of dying. Does Freezer, or does EHW even have a point to sprout? Does not just yet, so Freezer should be able to escape just fine. Meanwhile, Vigos doing a nice job pressuring Miggle, but Miggle, with that regen rune, did manage to get himself to full HP, drops a defensive Nether Ward just right off the bat. It does not deal too much damage, but still has to be pretty annoying. Of course, keep in mind Nether Ward does have a mana degen, but the AoE at level 1 is not too big. As you can see it ticking in, Scream Pain comes in to finish off Vigos, as Vigos played with death a little bit too long, as Vigos, very aggressive player, but sometimes it does come back to bite him in the butt a little bit. Meanwhile, Sony picks up a very early energy booster. We've been seeing a lot of boots changes with Naga these days. Triangle boots, arcane boots, even treads come into place from time to time, but looks like this is going to be a very early arcane boots, considering she's getting the most farm on this lane. Meanwhile, Mania usually would go for arcane boots on Undying, but considering he's not getting too much farm, that's not going to be in the near future at all. And arcane boots with a hero like Undying and a hero like Jakiro who can just spam those spells all day will be really useful, as looks like Lifesteal just having a really difficult time in this lane, only 9 CS. Naga not doing too well either because of her 12 base damage nerf, but still managed to pick up 12, and keep in mind she did get that first blood. Looks like there's going to be a bit of a smoke gank, as Rubik did activate a double damage rune. I think the Radiant Ward did see it, but Vigos did go in for that double damage rune. He is going to take the fall. Leshrac picks up the last hit with the help of that Edict, as Miggle tried to roam to the rune spot just to finish it off, get that gold, and really help out his laning advantage, as looks like the ball is going to be delivered to Miggle, and he'll be able to control the runes very nicely. As the Central Ward is going to be dropped, but looks like Radiant have a ward right there, so that's not going to be seen by that spot just yet. Meanwhile, there's going to be an engagement for Savadum, as Ice Path manages to catch him in. A Tombstone is going to be dropped. Keep in mind, 60-second cooldown, but in these early, long, drawn-out laning engagements, just using that Tombstone as much as possible is going to be very crucial. Ice Path going to come in, going to really drive off Felix for a little bit, but since Rubik and Leshrac did roam to gank that lane, it's going to be pretty difficult, but it looks like Vigos is going to be coming in to try to provide a bit of pressure. Nether Blast, of course, doing pretty significant damage to towers, but unfortunately the push has not been going away. Unfortunately for Absolute Legends, Mania did drop his tombstone quite prematurely, so the creep wave, once it does come, will be pretty annoying to deal with. Meanwhile, Come With Me did not put points into Liquid Fire at all, just going for a very offensive tri-lane base build. And keep in mind the recent patch, or the 675, not the 676, tri-lanes versus tri-lanes have just been so much more profitable. You don't even have to farm significantly well, you just get a lot more gold in giant clustered up engagements than you did before. So I think the X factor in this game will be the Nature's Prophet. How fast can he get his farm going for a very early hand of Midas? Already has a recipe only about 250 gold away, but he's really going to need to get a strong impact going very soon. I think Hand of Midas might not be the best choice. It's going to delay his pushing, and he's only going to start getting going at around the 25-minute mark, and considering the timing push and the pushing capacity of Absolute Legends, it's going to be pretty deadly to deal with. So it looks like both teams going to jockey into position back and forth a bit as Absolute Legends, they're going to think about their push, going to swing around to the mid lane perhaps, as they do spot out Miguel catching that regeneration rune. Miguel is going to have to get as farmed as quickly as possible. Fortunately, not doing too well in terms of the last 2 hits, but under a lot of pressure. Keep in mind, this is only 6 minutes in the game, so 30 CS is pretty respectable at this point. But I don't know if Nature's probably going for a fast Midas is the best build. Of course, that will be pretty useful in terms of getting him a lot of gold very fast, getting a lot of experience. But it might slow down his items that might be crucial in terms of stopping these very aggressive pushes in the early stages game, as Freezer decides to join his team in the middle lane. Is he level 6? He does have his ultimate, so that's going to be very annoying for GL to deal with. Queen of Pain has her ultimate as well, but looks like GL going to be sandwiched in a place, and here comes Tidehunter going to drop the gush on Sayuri. Will they cast Riot? Going to telekinesis and explore with poor chain stunning. Sayuri is going to take the fall, dual breath, very high level at this point, as it looks like Sayuri does take the fall. Sonic Wave is casted, but look at that Netherward doing so much damage. Splur's going to come in as Nagasiren does manage to pick up 2 kills on Miguel, and Leshak picks up a triple kill. Nicely done by Sony. That Netherward just zapping, doing so much damage in conjunction with that Tombstone. Just really annoying for GL to deal with. And considering how many squishy spellcasters they have, that's just going to become a bigger and bigger problem as this game goes on. Meanwhile, Lifesteal desperately trying to make up some of his poor farm on that top lane. Did die, but hits level 6 finally. Do they have any notable Infest combinations? They could blink in with the Queen of Pain. They could get a blink in with the Rubik and then Infest into a team fight, but looks like this middle tower will take the fall. Can Vegas pick it off with the Nether Blast? Will he even cast it? He is going to cast it, pick off that tower, and that's going to go a long way. Will he go for fast Mecha Rush, as was Stanford Pugna these days? Already has 1,700 gold in the bank, only about 500 gold from finishing away that mechanism, if he does decide to go for it.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Meanwhile, Dire placing their wards. Keep in mind, wards cheaper, 150 gold. As Sayuri does have boots, so that's nice by her. Meanwhile, Nyx, or Lifestealer, has picked up some Strength Treads, going to give him some nice attack speed, give him some nice HP boost, and just give him overall a bit more survivability. As there might be a roam for Come With Me. Here comes Miguel. Looks like Come With Me does not suspect a thing. The ward was not seen, but the courier did spy it out. Come With Me is going to get initiated on, but immediate TP as a double damage hit by Miguel does pick up the last hit, and now Vegas is in a lot of trouble. That Nether ward going to be immediately taken down. You keep in mind they already used a TP. Are they going to send somebody in? Here comes the Nature's Pop, going to clear down the trees. Vegas taking amplified damage. Does get killed by a spout. Another TP by Absolute Legends as Come With Me does come to reinforce it, but he's completely caught out alone. Another TP is going to come in that will save Come With Me for now, as CHW does cast a Sprout to hold Come With Me in place. Here comes Mania. Can he drop the Tombstone? He does get a Decay off to save his life for now, but he's taking so much damage. Miguel's still healthy HP, and now a nice engagement by GL. Picks off several kills, gets a kill lead, and now they're going to be able to pick off this top tier 1 tower. Keep in mind, all the while Nagasiren, but another teleport's coming in as Riot's going to kill off Miguel. Nice reinforcement by Freezer as CHW does teleport to safety. But overall, a huge victory for GL, getting some experience back. Going to get some kills on crucial heroes like the Undying and the Pugna. Overall, nice engagement. Keep in mind, Sony was not in that engagement for most of that time and just came in, going to go for a fast Lincoln Sphere most likely. Pretty interesting, going very defensive, just trying to tank up as much as possible. Meanwhile, just checking out the last hits, it looks like Nature's Prophet had that Animais, is going to go for a very fast mechanism, should be able to pick it up relatively soon, so nice farm by Nature's Prophet, going to really help out his team in these mid-game engagements and really prevent a lot of that Netherward macro power damage if he picks up a fast mechanism. Of course, they're going to need a fast pipe as well. That's not in the works just yet, as everybody else is quite underfarmed. Just checking out the items, it looks like Maintenance Fish's Arcane Boots not yet level 6, so does not have that Flesh Golem to increase amplified damage. And pretty interesting that he went for a lot of points of decay, but considering he has the mana pool support with a couple of Arcane Boots on his team, it's going to be pretty easy to spam that decay as much as possible. Vegas is going to go for that mechanism, as Kamate is going to reinforce as point in Liquid Fire to skip his ultimate to get a point in Liquid Fire, but I mean, he's going to hit level 7 relatively soon, so that Liquid Fire point will not go to waste just yet. As Freezer's ultimate is on cooldown, so that might be an opening for GL, as there's going to be a middle tower push. It looks like Kamate does teleport back, gets an Ice Path going, but they're not going to follow it up as Miggle blinks in very aggressively. Unfortunately, Kamate did juke the other way. Now Miggle's caught in an awkward position. Miggle takes increased damage from that Decarbify. Ice Path does whiff on Miggle. Here comes the Sonic Wave. Can they kill Come With Me? Shadow Strike as he salves up. Nicely done, as he's going to be able to prolong his life and survive. Meanwhile, the top tier tower did take the fall. Overall, a good engage for Absolute Legends. They did lose a tier 1 mid tower, which is pretty important in terms of map positioning, but they did get a tier 2 tower, which is worth slightly more gold, and able to fund their mid game items to very, very high levels. So, we're going to have a pause in action. Now it's a good time to bring down the graphs that you all know and love. Look at the gold earn graph. I mean, GL is out farming the raid, especially with that Nature's Prophet. Hand of Mice going to give him that, but if we look at the experience graph, that's going to really mean a difference. Looks like the Dire does have a slight advantage, but is going to swing back up now that heroes are going to split off, go to their lanes, and start farming. So, Dire with the slight experience advantage, definitely amplified by that giant engagement on the top lane, really helped them out. Getting a lot of kills, only losing one person in that engagement was really important. Meanwhile, is Miggle approaching any items? It'll be interesting to see what Miggle goes for first. Queen of Pain's first item can often decide how she gets her momentum going in the mid game. But considering that the Absolute Legend squad will most likely be clumped up in a huge ball and just be going in, maybe it'll just be useful for Queen of Pain to go for something a bit more defensive so she can survive as much as possible and just be able to provide as much damage in a team fight as possible. Meanwhile, Sony with that Perseverance able to spam Riptide a bit more effectively, as level 1 Naga Siren ultimate, only level 8, hits level 9 just about now, but the Naga Siren ultimate still has the 3-minute cooldown, so she does have to be pretty careful in how she decides to use it. Looks like Absolute Legends going to all teleport to the bottom lane. They want to get their push going. They know Nature's Prophet with the Midas could be a bit tricky to deal with in the later stages of the game, and right now they're going to be as powerful, especially Vegas with that fish mechanism. Going to be so useful, but it looks like GL going to smoke around. Did that Sentry Ward? That is a Dire Sentry Ward, but they're going to smoke up. Go with the push at Sabadoom with that level 3 of Edict will be able to melt towers so fast. Tier 2 mid tower in exchange for a tier 1 bottom tower. Not a good trade for Absolute Legends. Will they teleport back? Looks like Kamate immediately teleports in. They're going to back off for now, as a couple teleports going to be forced by GL. Nicely done defending their tier 1 mid tower, but Naga Siren is still going to town. Here comes Freezer, as it looks like I think GL might have backed up a little bit too prematurely. Sire is going to take the fall once again. Freezer picks up the last hit. Nicely done. Meanwhile, Naga Siren going to chip away. Does get the net off onto Miggle. He's going to have to retreat for now. Miggle going to go for that very fast. That could be a BKB. That could be an Aghanim Scepter. We'll see in a minute. But it looks like Leshrac in conjunction with that Nature's Prophet just so good at pushing towers. The pushing squad for AL, it's pretty good at killing towers with that Pugna Nether Blast, but it's more useful in terms of long pushing team fights where that Jakiro can really get into effect with that Dirge Tombstone just stacking up zombies time after time. That's where their strength really relies on. Meanwhile, CHW just farming out of his mind, already finishes his Hand of Mice and the mechanism, as I accidentally brought down the buyback stats. You can see CHW does have 408 gold per minute, but Naga Siren doing a nice job in terms of keeping up with that pace, as there's going to be a middle push going, knowing that GL did want to get that middle tier 2 tower. Looks like Absolute Legend's going to swing around as Kamate picks up a second point in Liquid Fire, skipping the ultimate altogether. Looks like they know that they will not be all clumped up, so that macro power will not be too useful as what was just delivered on the courier. I guess the Dirge is going to go for that Hooded Defiance and try to build up to an eventual pipe. Meanwhile, it's just so difficult to fight against a Pugna with so many squishy spellcasters that Nether Ward will just do way too much damage. We'll see if Pugna decides to tank up as Nyx is going to go in, try to pick off the courier, but just not enough damage at this point. He's going to escape. Wow. Really unfortunate for the Lifestealer, as I don't know if he popped the armor to get that courier killed. That might have been enough to kill that courier, as now Lifestealer caught in a very awkward position, as looks like the two Absolute Legends here are going to swing around, try to pick off the Lifestealer. Can you teleport out? He's just going to rage teleport out. Obviously a rage teleport, as it looks like Nature's Prophet did kill that bottom tier 2 tower, so just the split pushing by GL is enough to keep them in the game, hopefully draw it out for a lot longer. And we'll see what Absolute Legends decides to do. Will they tank up? Will they farm their Nagasiren a bit more? Only about 300 gold from finishing that Lincoln Sphere, and once she gets that, she'll be very difficult to bring down. But still, you can bring her down. Meanwhile, it looks like the Tormented Soul Leshrac is caught out of position. Savadoom gonna get Ice Path, nice Ice Path by come with the Decay gonna be casted. Freezer steals the bit of damage with that Gush, as the time they're gonna go for that Vanguard, probably gonna disassemble his poor man's shield, and then get that finished Vanguard. Just gonna be so tanky, so difficult to deal with, as Absolute Legends with this push strat is just gonna try to tank up as much as possible, and probably try to bulldoze their way. That's what Undying Special is those timing pushes, just bulldoze, just being the tankiest here on the map. But it looks like GL, they do not want to let that happen. They're just going to try to split push as much as possible, and they're doing a nice job, as there's going to be another teleport in. Currently going to stop cancel his Ice Path, but immediate Wrath of Nature is going to do so much damage to Vigas, as it looks like Miguel going to cast a Sonic Wave. Vigas luckily pops Invisibility Rune. Song of Siren can be used. Can he cast a net immediately? But that casting point nerf Ravage hits absolutely nobody, but Miguel's going to get trapped with an Ice Path. Meanwhile, the pursuit is on for Failets, but Failets is going to scuttle on out of there. But they used two pretty long cooldown ultimates. Naga Siren did just hit level 11, so that ultimate is going to be down for quite a bit of time. We'll see if the Absolute Legend squad decides to go for Roshan. I don't know which physical damage they have, so it might take a while, but they do have that minus armor from Gush. Already level 4 Gush, so pretty strong in terms of reducing that, but they are just going to get the push going. Meanwhile, we're just going to check out the last hits and denies. Nature's Prophet going to hit around 100. We'll see what Nature's Prophet decides to go for. Picks up a fast medallion. Not too sure what I would think about this decision, as it's going to be useful in terms of isolating a single target hero, but they really don't have much physical DPS to really benefit. Of course, Lifestealer and that Edict will help a bit, but I'd rather you just start saving up for his Hex, or maybe an Orchid or something like that, or an Aghanims to really just amplify split pushing capacity, as there's going to be a teleport to the bottom lane. Sony's just going to drive away the Lifesteal for now, but with that Dirge Tombstone, with the Pugna mechanism, and Pugna able to spam those Nether Blasts, it's going to be pretty difficult for GL to take this fight. There's going to be teleported in by the Lifesteal, immediately takes a bunch of damage, going to isolate that Tombstone, immediately take it down. That's going to be a huge teamfight presence loss right off the bat. Ice Path will be used by Komathi, catches Sayuri, but here comes a Split Earth catching 2 heroes. Looks like Lifestealer does manage to infest a Treant. Will Komathi able to escape? He's going to take so much damage. Saladoom is going to be the first one to fall in this stage. Another Split is going to come in. Miguel is going to come in to try to clean everything up, but it looks like Mayan taking so much damage. Miguel is forced to retreat at this point. Keep in mind, Nagasiren was not fighting, was just farming, so a nice engagement by Absolute Legends, taking the majority of that team fight without the Tombstone. Really nicely done. Frieza just so tank. He's going to be able to pick up his Blink Dagger if he decides to go for that right now. Meanwhile, Undying just getting more and more tank. That Decay stacking with that AoE increases has just been so incredibly useful in terms of stacking him strength as much as possible. So right now, Absolute Legends looks to be in solid shape, but their long cooldowns of their ultimates is hurting them. Pugna gonna go for a very fast BKB. I like this decision a lot. Pugna notorious for being one of the squishiest heroes in the games, and if you get a fast BKB with that mechanism, his effective HP will just be ridiculously high, and it'll be extremely difficult to bring him down. Vigas might be caught out of position, did not go for that 4-step, so that might cost him a bit here, as he is going to take the fall. Vigas going to pop the mechanism, pop the Decrepify to stall as long as possible, doing significant damage on Saladoom, as Coming 3 does come to reinforce. Going to cast a Dual Breath. He doesn't have Macropire, but here comes a Tombstone. Mania and the Absolute Legend squads comes in to reinforce, picks off 2 for 1. Vigas in exchange for Nature's Prophet and Leshrac, considering Nature's Prophet was by far the most farmed hero on the map. Overall, a worthy engagement for Absolute Legends. You know, it looks like GL going to try to get their split push going. Failets has unfortunately not been able to find a significant opening to get his farm going, so that could be a bit troublesome. As Absolute Legends, they know we have Ravage, we have Song and Sign, we want to get this push going. Vigas, high base movement speed on that Pugna, should be able to catch up to his team relatively soon, but buyback in Nature's Prophet will Absolute Legends back off They're going to pop the glyph for now as Sprout going to be used to summon those treants. And I think Absolute Legends, it would behoove them to back up without Vigos. But still, they have the talent to Ravage, and they have that Pipe of Insight as he just saved up. They did not go for the Blink Dagger, did not go for the Vanguard, just went for a straight up Pipe of Insight. So that's going to be really useful in these engagements. Meanwhile, Lifestealer just going to be farming on that bottom lane, does have a teleport scroll, so he can join his teammates. Trying to get whatever farm he could in that short instance of Absolute Legends not pushing in, but Absolute Legends, they want blood, they smell victory in the air. Unfortunately, Mana does not have any points in Soul Orb, so that heal could be useful, but it's not going to be a factor. Currently, still no points in a Macro Pyre. Interesting build. 3 points in Liquefier, just going to get massive amount of debuffs, but the glyph is down, Pipe is used, going to prevent a lot of split earth damage as they're going to go to town on this tower. Vigos constantly spamming Nether Blast, really hurting down that tower. Will they back up after this tower? They're just going to go in. It's really difficult for Gamers League to defend this, considering everybody on the Absolute Legends squad is just so tank. Naga with that Linken's here, Tylanter with that Pipe of Insight, which should be cooling down relatively soon. 30 seconds, they're going to go to town. Thrax, no glyph. This could be brutal for Gamers League. Here comes Miggle with the BKB, going to finish up, try to go on to Come With Me as the Splurth is going to be used. Miggle with that BKB charged down and already uses ultimate. This is going to mean racks for Absolute Legends. They're going to take the melee barracks just to back off. They do have a Song of Siren to get out, as another word is going to be used as well. Will they stun Sony? Here comes Macropyre, but Come With Me. He wants to go in for more, and the zombie is going to go to town on Sayuri as she is going to take the fall. Mania picks up a double kill just by existing. The power of Undying. Vigos cleans up Leshrac, and now Gamers League looks to be in a world of hurt as a bunch of teleports back by Absolute Legends. They're going to say, we'll let you live for now. Dun dun dun. Meanwhile, Absolute Legends going to try to maneuver themselves into Roshan. You can see the experience graph has heavily favored the Radiant. Now, gold graph with that Rax kill is over 5k for the Radiant side. It's going to be pretty difficult, but if there's a hero who can stop this, it is Nature's Prophet. Unfortunately, not too sure how you can kill any of the heroes on Absolute Legends. They're just so tanky. Nagastar going to be able to finish that Diffusal Blade rather quickly. Meanwhile, Nania is going to get tankier and tankier as the game goes on. He has an item shipping to him on the courier, as that is a teleport scroll. Or no, the Drums of Endurance is going to finish that up. So he's going to get more auras damage, and now it looks like Gamers League going to fall victim to this incredible, powerful timing push. Unfortunately, they couldn't get the split push going as fast enough. Just the massive death ball on the Dota team going to be enough to penetrate this bottom Rax, as Gamers League going to try to desperately reinforce it. Pipe of Insight is popped, but that glyph is still on cooldown. Ice Path going to hold Miggle in place. He just gets chased on to death. Without Miggle, without that BK, without that Sonic Wave, it's just going to be so difficult for them to defend this. But they do have to try. They are going to have to try. Liquefier going to be used. Mana not yet using the Tombstone. Failit's going to be caught in the Ice Path. Ryaj's going to catch a couple of heroes. The Tombstone's going to be popped. Mana uses the ultimate. Failit's does take the fall, and looks like Leshrac, another Ryaj going to be used by the Rubik, as he did manage to steal that Ryaj, but AL is just so tank with that mechanism. Saladum trying to go to town on Vigos. Macro Power going to be used by Come With Me. Vigos does take the fall. Looks like Come With Me with that level 4 Liquid Fire just going to be enough to kill that Leshrac with help. A bunch of buybacks by both teams, but looks like Absolute Legends going to take this bottom Rax, and they're going to be able to take this game, as it's going to be so difficult. Miggle comes in with the BK, kills off Come With Me at the very least, but it looks like Net going through BKB going to be enough to hold him in place. Song of Siren will be used. It is used. It looks like that is Q for Absolute Legends to back off. They got the Rex. They got several kills. That is going to be more than enough to call that a successful push. But yeah, it's just really tricky. I mean, what can you do? They're just so beefy at this point. It's going to be... And then Netherward just really going to town on all of these. And the thing about Netherward and Tombstone, as looks like CHW going to get held in place by the Net, by the Ice Path, is going to take the fall to Sony, as he is unstoppable. This is looking grimmer and grimmer by the moment for GL, as the push is going to probably come in. They don't even need to take Roshan, but if they take Roshan, nobody will blame them. Meanwhile, they spot Sari a little bit out of position. Felix takes the decay to the face. They're not going to go in. They're just going to try to group up. They don't want to use the Tombstone just for a lifestealer. They want to use it for the siege. But yeah. And the thing about spells like Tombstone and Nether Ward is that you're forced to draw off some of your physical attacks for a couple of seconds just so you can bring down those spells, which just do so much damage if they are otherwise left by themselves. So you're forced to use some of your precious auto attacks where you could be trying to bring down the massive HP pools of heroes like Nagasiren and Tidehunter. And every physical hit does matter, as Jakiro did pick up a kill on Miggle, as I'm not too sure though that happened Ice Path enough to bring down the kill on Miggle, and without Miggle, without the BKB, without the Sonic Wave, this push is pretty much guaranteed to succeed, as Sony's going to go in. Do they have the Ravage? Not yet up. That's not even necessary, as CHW is going to get Chain Stun in place. Here comes the Tombstone. Nether Ward doing so much damage, as it looks like Nagasiren does pick up the kill. Nature's Prophet buys back, but this might be a little too late. Tidehunter picks up a kill on Saladoom. 2 heroes wicked sick. GG is called by CHW, as Absolute Legends with their timing push are just enough, as Decrepify gonna be Mandor Lifestealer relatively useless, as I'm not too sure Lifestealer was the best pickup for carry in this game. GG is called by both teams, and that is game 1 going in favor of Absolute Legends. A Victory Ravage gonna be used. Nagasiren gonna be able to save those Rex for now. But everybody's gonna disconnect, as this is gonna be game 1 of the Fragbite THOR Open Semifinals Qualifier number 3. Absolute Legends takes it in convincing fashion in a 25-minute victory. Nicely done. They were just able to steamroll, just bulldoze their way to victory, completely overpowering Gamers League. So we'll see if Gamers League can respond in kind in game 2. But I will be back very soon with game 2. So we're just gonna wait for the final score screen. But thank you for watching. Please follow me and keep supporting me, and that's going to be game 1 as Absolute Legend takes it in convincing fashion. And keep in mind, after this series there will be the finals between Root Gaming and the winner of this series. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you very, very soon.